Hello chess friends and welcome to the channel. I'm back with one last game from the Online Nations Cup. Bassem Amin, the Egyptian grandmaster and the strongest African player with the white pieces, versus Anish Giri with black. Now, a nice info about Amin that I didn't know and that I'd like to share with you. So, Bassem Amin, who is 31 years old, is also a doctor. In fact, he studied medicine with great success at the Tanta University. Tanta is the fifth biggest city in Egypt, located between Cairo and Alexandria. So this little story inspired the title of my video. Now let's go back to our game. Amin with the white pieces opens with d4 and Anish Giri answers with c5, the Sicilian defense. Knight to f3 and now d6. This position an interesting variation, g3. This is an interesting variation of the closed Sicilian that Amin explored many times. Now we know that in the closed Sicilian, knight to c3 is played before g3 because after e4 and c5, if white continues with g3, black can immediately play d5 and this is annoying for white. But because black already used one tempo for d6, then you can play g3 without sending the knight to c3. So interesting idea. Now, here comes knight to f6, attacking e4, and d3, protecting the pawn. g6, bishop to g2, bishop to g7, and now short castle for white, and short castle for black. Rook to e1, knight to c6, and because the knight is not on c3, in this position, Amin can play c3 that will support a future d4 push. So here comes e5 that creating the bind, at least for now, is preventing this d4 push. And here comes a3. So at first I thought that Amin wants to prepare this attack against the bind with the immediate b4. Instead we will notice that this a3 only serves, at least for now, to stop the b-pawn advancement. So after a3, here comes b5, h3 controlling g4, and now rook to b8. Bishop to e3, a5. Amin already played this position in 2013, a victory against the strong Gajewski. Gajewski is a grandmaster with a rating of more than 2640. And here comes a4. This is a novelty because in the game against Gajewski, Amin played another good move, knight to d2. So, of course, the b-pawn must advance. And only now, knight in b goes to d2, h6, controlling g5, and now rook to c1, the rook on the c5 that can also be opened, also watching this unprotected knight. So, good position, good fight for this rook. Rook to e8, and finally, here comes d4. B captures, and with e captures on d4, it seems that Anish Giri found a weak spot in white's camp, but after c captures on d4, it's clear that also white has his counterplay with the rook on the file where there is the knight. So, complex position, Anish Giri plays a very practical move, knight to b4, good move, probably the best move in this position, because with this move he prevents any tactical trick. If we go back one move, also c capture on d4 is a good move. Of course, white will answer with knight capture. And also knight captures on e4 is playable. Not the best move, but a move that is not a mistake at all. But if you play this move, you must calculate some important lines. So let's briefly watch this, what happens after knight captures on e4, not played by Giri. The knight recaptures on e4, rook captures on e4, and now white has two good continuations. D capture on c5, and of course now D capture on c5 with the rook that recaptures with tempo against the knight favors white. So in this position d5 must be played. Knight back to h2, the rook is under attack. Rook to e5, knight to g4, and because this knight is attacking this rook, defending the center, so after bishop captures on d4 and h captures on g4, white gets the bishop pair. Going back to our rook to e4, the second variation is knight to e5 with the rook that is under attack. Now knight captures, bishop captures, c captures, bishop captures, bishop captures on h3, where white wins the exchange but loses 2 pawns. And because these positions are difficult to evaluate, Giri did well to play knight to b4. Let's go back to our game. So after c capture, instead of entering all this complication, Anish Giri continues with knight to b4. Best move, and here comes knight to c4. Knight captures, d captures, knight to a2, and this move is an inaccuracy because the natural d5 is much better. Now what happens? It happens that this rook is under attack, but Amin can capture the pawn with the same threat of the black player, so white is now a pawn up, knight captures, rook to c2, 2 pieces are under attack, so white will regain the piece, bishop to a5, and now rook captures on a2. Knight to c4, the bishop is under attack, queen captures, rook captures, and here comes c6. So even if with correct play black is fine, in practical play, Bassem Amin just created an advanced pass pawn, so Anish Giri must play with great care. What happens? It happens that Giri continues with rook to c8, and this move is a bit passive. Let's go back one move. Much better is knight captures on e3 first. Now, if rook captures on e3, there is rook to d1 with check, king to h2, rook captures, f captures, and now rook to d3 with the rook that is much more active in this position than on c8. And still in this variation, after rook captures on e3, if white recapture with the f1 that probably is better than recapturing with the rook, again, rook to d3 is much more active than rook to c8, and in both variations, black is fine. Let's go back to our game. Rook to c8, a bit passive. Now there is a real advantage for white. And now, knight to d2. Giri doesn't want to change the knight on this bishop because he fears the knight jump to c4 that will probably win this a5 pawn, but he doesn't notice that after knight captures and white recaptured, if knight to c4 there is bishop to e6 that will slow down white's plans, so this knight capture on e3 is the best idea, where black gets the bishop pair, and instead he moves back the knight to e5, where the knight is still controlled in c4. Here comes g4, knight to d3 attacking the rook, but too many knights moves that didn't improve Giri's position at all, while Amin is improving all of his pieces. Rook to b1, and now bishop to e6. Rook to c2, knight to b4, and now rook to c5 attacking a5. Bishop to a2, a simple rook back to f1 is a good move. Now bishop to f8 and rook capture on a5. So 2 pawns up. Now at least black recapture 1 pawn on c6. Knight captures on c6. The rook is under attack, but now rook to b5. Another knight move, knight to e5, and here comes rook to a1. This is a strong move, because not only the rook is attacking the bishop, and the rook is also behind the pass pawn, but also it's not possible to save the bishop pair, because if black brings back the bishop to e6, then this knight is lost, and in all the other squares the knight can capture the bishop. So where to move this bishop? Bishop to c4, but here comes knight captures on c4, knight captures on c4, bishop to d4, white has the pass pawn, the bishop pair, and this is a great problem for black. Now rook in e goes to d8, bishop to a6, the rook is under attack, rook to d6, and here comes g5, h captures, bishop captures, and knight to e3. Now of course the knight is attacking the rook, not possible to capture the knight or the rook is lost, because there is rook to d1 with check with the discovered attack. So rook to b3, and now f6, bishop back to e3, knight to c2, and now rook to c1, the knight is pinned to this rook. Rook to c4 doesn't change the position, bishop back to f1, and rook back to c8. The pass pawn begins to advance, a5. Now doubling the rooks with rook in d goes to c6, Giri is able to move away the knight. So bishop to b6, and now knight to b4. Rook captures, but the pawn can advance without problems because the pawn is protected by the bishop, and if the rook captures the white bishop, then with a7 the pawn will surely promote to queen, because the rook can't attack the pawn from behind because there is a bishop, can't move to the back rank because the pawn itself is protecting b8. So after a6, rook to c1, trying to attack the pawn from behind and pinning this bishop, but here comes a7. Rook to a1, rook captures on b4 is a winning simplification, because after bishop captures on b4 there is king to g2 that is unpinning this bishop. Now the problem for black is that this rook can't leave the a file or the pawn will simply promote. This dark square bishop can't help because the promotion square is a light square, and so only move to play is bishop to d6, but now the bishop that is free to move moves to c4 with tempo. King to g7, bishop to d5 controlling the promotion square, bishop to c7 is the last trick, but of course white simply moves back the bishop to d4. Now this is already game over because nothing can stop this pawn promotion, and Anish Giri should sacrifice the rook on the pawn. Instead, low on time, he plays a bad move, bishop to e5, and in this position, after bishop captures on a1, he resigns because now, of course, the rook is gone and the pawn will also promote. So finally, I was able to show you a very nice game, a very nice victory by Amin to make the Egyptian people happy, and also a new prescription by Dr. Amin, a new surprise weapon against the Sicilian that we can also use in our games. Our analysis is over. I hope that you liked the game, and as usual, see you tomorrow with a new video. Goodbye!